when I talk about our sponsors is why Denmark there?
I think it's correct to say it's far away from Denmark, but it doesn't mean that we forget about the rest of the world.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the JCLEC podcast. I'm very fortunate today to have my guest as Per Brixen, the Deputy Head of Mission for the Danish Embassy in Jakarta. Per, welcome to JCLEC podcast.
Thank you very much, Ben.
And thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's always good to have you here, Per. I think, as I mentioned to you prior to when we came in here about the reason for the podcast is, one of the reasons is to get an understanding of sponsors, of what they do, of their reasons to be in here. And another thing is it's kind of like a recognition of the support you've given JCLEC over the time. And I suppose the best way to start this is to say that Denmark have been at JCLEC since 2005.
Correct.
And we only opened in 2004. And one of the questions I'm quite often asked about people when I talk about our sponsors is why Denmark there? And it always comes back to, I suppose, a geographical location with Denmark in Europe and JCLEC obviously in Indonesia. Are you able to, I suppose, better you say the reasons that Denmark's here, rather than me try and convey what I know about it. So what can you tell us about that?
Okay, let me try. As you mentioned, Denmark has been a steadfast partner of JCLEC since 2005, supporting regional security and law enforcement capacity building in Indonesia and the region. So basically, the long-term collaboration reflects Denmark's broader and deeply rooted commitment to promoting democracy, rule of law, and good governance globally, and therefore also in Indonesia. So it has played a crucial role in strengthening regional security and fostering international cooperation across Southeast Asia. I think it's correct to say it's far away from Denmark.
Yeah. A long way.
So normally when we look at our priorities for security-related things, it's normally been the Middle East and Africa, and of course now with Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, a lot of more focus is also given to the security situation in Europe. But it doesn't mean that we forget about the rest of the world. That's why we are still here. But let me maybe just go back again to the start a little bit and then come back to the current situation. From the start, the goal wasn't only about strengthening institutions to tackle terrorism and transnational crime, but also countering the global threats like from ISIL. Terrorist was a core priority. That was, of course, much higher on the agenda when we started our support. It's also equally important for us to build a partnership equally grounded in promoting human rights, gender mainstreaming, and ethical policing and the rule of law. So it's always been sort of a dual objective for us, both to look at the security aspects, but also to look at the sort of approach to how you deal with security, that you have the human rights-based approach and you take gender into consideration. And I think one of the things we are especially proud of is the breadth of the training that Denmark has supported over the nearly 2 decades since 2005. The topics have been incredibly diverse, ranging from economic crime investigations, multi-agency cooperation, to transnational child exploitation investigations, training on crimes against women and children, human trafficking, de-radicalization programs, and human rights in policing. So it really reflects many of the challenges that are faced globally, but also here in the region. And I think it also shows Denmark's flexibility to be responsive to address the needs that we discuss with our partners that we need to address. It's of course also been a good option to bring Danish experts here and do the training so we can share about Danish experience. So I mean, our financial assistance is of course one thing, but I think the important element for us is also that we are able to share the Danish experience in these areas.
It is, and it's one of the things that I've noticed in my time here that if anything, the Danish are very much a collaborative partner, always wanting to find other sponsors to work with or provide expertise. We laughed before about I think over the last, especially 3 or 4 years, there's been a big focus on human rights and also a focus on money laundering, terrorist finance, and the gens and gens, the two gens that always come from Denmark, and they're here again today, which is good to see. But they bring a real element of expertise that they can give to, especially to the Indonesian police here, and it's always very welcome. So I hear what you say about the Danish bringing in their expertise.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Jens and Jens are here at the moment giving training for the next week, and they will come back again next year. So they're under the current program delivering some training courses. They also have delivered courses in the past. I actually spoke with them yesterday. They're very pleased that they can still come out here. They enjoy JCLEC very much. Say it's a fantastic facility to do training. But apart from them, we've actually, I mean, they had senior positions in the Danish finance investigative setup. But apart from them, we've also had earlier Danish police officers coming here to do training on gender mainstreaming. We had a few Danish female police officers coming in 2022. It was the first time I was out here. And we also had, at that point, expert from the Danish Institute of Human Rights. So that shows that's sort of another end of the training we have been giving. But we have also tried to involve actually Indonesian experts into the training. So we tried to combine the Danish expertise with the Indonesian expertise to tailor-make it more to the audience that we have here. And the training goes to really a broad number of Indonesian institutions, Densus 88, the Indonesian National Police, but also the corruption authority in Indonesia also participate, custom and excise, the financial crime investigative units here. So it's
broadening
really,
the reach
really
of it.
broad. And I think one of the elements we also focus on, and I've discussed this very much with Jens and Jens, is also to bring Indonesian institutions together. So not only do the people that we provide training to get expertise and technical capacities, but they also build up a network amongst themselves. And I think that's sometimes important here in Indonesia, because what we see in Indonesia is that really a lot of institutions, so coordination in these efforts is crucial. And I think that's sort of one of the hidden things of the courses that we are providing, bringing people from different institutions together to build up networks that hopefully will also be useful when they come back after the training courses. So it's more than just the technical expertise that we're giving. It's also something else.
That's one of the things we pride ourselves on at JCLEC, is our ability to bring people together to create those networks. Because especially in a globalised world these days, and with the prevalence of, I suppose you could say, internet-based crime, be it a scam centre or things like that, money laundering, terrorist finances, having those networks and bringing the people together is almost as important as delivering the content in being able to combat it.
Yes.
So that commitment really is, it's really, really important. The other one you did mention is the human rights, because I know there was a couple of programs in 2022, the ones you mentioned, human rights in policing on criminal investigations and protection. There was 2 iterations of that through 2022.
Yeah.
And that was, it brought in a new, well, I suppose not new, but a different course stream per se, that was led by Denmark, and it was really highly regarded and highly spoken about by the Indonesians following that. And that was the one you mentioned where you had the police officers from Denmark coming out. That was a really important course, I thought. The other ones I look at here, and it's you mentioned gender mainstreaming and women's empowerment, was Denmark found some fundings to participate or to deliver a program of our Kartini series in 2023. That was. That was really important and really appreciated, because I think you know it yourself, our commitment to Kartini series and gender equality through Indonesia, that played a critical role. So, you know, on behalf of JCLEC, thank you for that.
Yeah, I think, I mean, if we count all the courses since 2005 to 2023, it seems I've tried to look at the statistics, and actually we've funded 127 programs at JCLEC.
It is.
These have trained more than 3,000 people.
Yep.
And actually also some from other countries than Indonesia. Actually, look at the statistics. It seems like we have actually reached people from 35 different countries. That's a lot under the current program. Lately, we have been more focused on the Indonesians, but I think we still maintain a thought to see if we can have something going, looking more regional training, because crime is cross-border in this region.
It is.
It's an important element also, not only to get the Indonesian institutions to work together internally, but also to promote good collaboration in the region. So actually these 127 programs have been delivered by 802 trainers. I think that's also quite high numbers. Yes. I mean, I know it's over 20 years, but still.
Yep, it's a lot of people. It's a lot of expertise.
People. Many of the experts are from Denmark, but as you said, some of the experts have also been from Indonesia. The Kartini series is led by Indonesian experts. And we have also used experts from Komnas HAM and local universities. So that's what I mentioned earlier, that we are trying to mix the Danish experts with Indonesian experts, so the program more tailor-made to the Indonesian.
I think that part about more regional collaboration is an important one as well, because, you know, I think, you know, when you're at JCLEC, we have a flag for each country that's represented in JCLEC for every day they're here, and today we've got 10 flags out the front.
Yeah, I noticed.
And it shows that it is, and it's very, very impressive when you look at the regional influence that we have or can have, and that can only be delivered through sponsors. So for that, thank you. One other thing I wanted to discuss as well is on the Transparency International Corruption Perception Index, Denmark ranks number 1, the least corrupt country in the world.
Yes.
Something you should be very, very proud of, and
we are very proud of that.
And
thank you.
We had, as you're aware, we had the Danish auditors come through, because with all countries that come through here, all public funds have to be governed. And as we're a standalone foundation and we're responsible for public funds from many different countries, it's something that we take our governance very seriously. And that gave us a lot of support for what we're doing. It was really pleasing to have the guys here for that, and for Denmark to reaffirm commitment to JCLEC after that. It gives us makes us feel quite proud that we are doing the right thing that way. There's always room for improvement, and it was really welcomed. So I think on behalf of JCLEC, firstly, thank you for sending out the auditors. Thank you for the report, and thank you for the support after it.
Yeah.
Because it does mean a lot to us to know that we're doing the right things. And when we have Denmark saying that, yes, there's always room for improvement, but a country recognised as the least corrupt out of all 180 countries in the world, it is really such a positive for us to have your support. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Yeah, I think, as you know, our last program ended in 2023.
Yep.
And that maybe also brings me back. Then the auditors were out here, and they said basically, I think the basic message was that it's a partnership that should be continued or could be continued. I mean, the institution JCLEC was strong. They had some few recommendations. They always have recommendations, exactly as you say, to try and improve things. And we are of course happy that you have taken those recommendations. When our program ended last program ended in 2023, of course we were in a bit of a different situation from 25. As I mentioned, 25 there was focus on ESEAL and their links. In 2023, of course, the focus had changed a lot in Europe. With the war, Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine, as I mentioned earlier, the focus was much more on security in Europe itself, and some of the funds that we have used for the program here was, more earmarked to that, and we still had sort of the core focus on the region closer to Europe, which is Africa and the Middle East. But there was a conscious decision in Denmark also that we should not forget our partnership with countries further away.
Yeah.
And I think we looked around and we saw that in this region we had a long-term established partnership with JCLEC, so we had something to build on. So I think for us to keep at least being, active, maybe small, of course small to some of the other players, but still an active player in Southeast Asia on this security dimension. We felt that JCLEC was the right institution to continue to do that with, because we know you, and also because, as you say, our auditors has basically said that it's work and it's a solid institution, and you have also, as you mentioned, followed up on the discussion you had with them. So we felt that was a good basis for continuing the cooperation, and that's why we found this new 5.5 million Danish kroner for the program, which we signed in 2024.
Which is a 3 year.
Yeah, and then it goes to 2027, and this week we are then starting the first activities under that program. So these 5.5 million, it's around maybe 12 billion, I think, Indonesian rupiah, adds to the 41 billion Indonesian rupiahs that Denmark has contributed between 2025 and 2023. Yep.
Yeah, and it is. It's a commitment that we certainly understand the importance of it, and it's not lost on us that the loyalty that the Embassy of Denmark have shown us, we certainly appreciate that. Just on that, where do you see, or do you have any visions, as you're a member of the Board of Supervisors, do you have any visions for JCLEC in the future that you would like to see?
Of course I would. I mean, the vision that, I think basically you're on the right path. So to continue to develop on that path, I think serves you well. So I don't think I have sort of a grand new vision
Yep.
for JCLEC. That things needs to be changed drastically or anything, because I think you're doing a good job, basically.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We try. We do our best. We try to update all the time.
Yeah.
One other thing I've always believed is a lot of these partnerships, while they're... I heard a very, very valid or a very interesting comment from our Assistant Commissioner, and he said, you don't make relationships with organisations, you make relationships with people. And that's, I'm a big believer in that, especially to do with, I look at, I've known you since I've been here, Per, and, these are the types of relationships that I think the open relationships where you can discuss anything to do with the organisations and the loyalty, especially coming from you. I do thank you and the Embassy, and I know you also have an ambassador, but I do want a personal front thank you for all of your support and loyalty to JCLEC, because it does mean a lot to us.
I can only say the same. Now I've been in Indonesia for 3 years, going into my 4th year, and already the first year, within the first half year I was here, I visited JCLEC. I was really impressed. It was such a nice facility to come to. It has a tranquility around it, which I think is excellent for training purposes. So I really think this is a perfect place for trainings for the participants to focus on what is taught. And I've been here a few times since then, and I really enjoyed having the chance to occasionally come here and
out of the rat race of Jakarta.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
The traffic becomes too much there sometimes.
Yeah, but also just to sit outside in the facilities here and have a discussion with you or colleagues from JCLEC about how is it going and what is prospects for JCLEC and the whole situation with building up more capacity on these security issues that we are facing together.
It is. We do. We always welcome you here, Per. It's good to have you and anyone from the Embassy here. We do love having Denmark and Jens and Jens. They're good fun, those two. Look, I think that's probably covered what I wanted to cover in it. As I said at the start, on behalf of JCLEC, thank you so much for the support in the past and the support in the future. It really is important to JCLEC, and the responsibility we hold to help you deliver on what your embassy's goals and objectives are is not lost on us, and it's something we take very seriously. So look, thank you very much for giving me the time to talk to you today. It's always good, as I said, not just coffee downstairs, but also in our new podcast studio.
This is a new experience for me, but it's been a pleasure.
Well, I like to think I made it as comfortable as it could be.
Yeah.
All right. So, look, thank you so much again, Per. We look forward to continued collaboration, and thank you.
Thank you.